Hi guys, welcome back to my channel ArtsyPutsy with me Putsy, and for today's video it's going to be another foundation review, and this time I'm going to review the Colourpop No Filter foundation stick, this one right here. So if you want to see the review, my first impression and also a wear test, then just keep on watching. So this is the Colourpop No Filter foundation stick. They have the entire face no filter line now on their website. They have a liquid foundation, they have concealer, they have loose setting powder and also pressed powder, and now they expand their range for a foundation stick, which is very exciting because most of the no filter line from Colourpop is actually pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of their liquid foundation. I mean, I like them, but I only like them if I only going to wear them for a couple of hours, like 3 to 4 hours, because if I use them for a long period of time, more than 6 hours, it looks a little bit too greasy and too oily at the end of the day for me, because I have a very oily skin. So I mean, it's good for day-to-day basis, but if I know I'm going to wear them for a long period of time, it's not the foundation I reached for. That one looks great for photos and for less than 5 hours, but I don't have that many foundation stick. I only have tried the Maybelline one, and if you want to see my review for the Maybelline Superstay multi-use foundation stick, I'm going to link that video up here and also down below. That one I'm not a huge fan of, so we'll see if I end up liking this one, because I mean, I love the concept of a foundation stick. It's just very easy and quick. You can get this foundation on the Colourpop website. It retails for $10. They have 30 different shades, which is amazing, especially considering this is a super affordable brand and it's an affordable product. And I think you can kind of easily find your shade, because you can find your perfect shade based on your previous foundation that you already use, or you can also find your shade by trying to find your skin tone: fair, light, medium, medium dark, dark, or deep dark. And also they categorize it by undertone as well. They have neutral, warm, and cool undertone. So technically it's kind of easier to find your perfect shade, even though I still kind of confused and I don't know if I picked the right one. But here I have the shade medium 90W, 90 warm. In their liquid foundation, I believe I use medium 100, I believe. I don't remember if it is too light or too dark, but I can still use them. I still use them. So it can conceal, corrects, and perfects. It's very quick and easy. It has a medium buildable coverage, blurs pores, covers blemishes, blends effortlessly, and it has a natural skin-like finish. Never cakey or drying. Portable and mess-free. It has 9.5 grams of products, or 0.34 ounces, and this foundation is vegan and cruelty-free. I don't think I have watched a lot of reviews for this foundation, but I know Kathleen likes this to use as a contour as well. I'm kind of mad at myself. I didn't get 3 different shades, so I can try to use this as foundation, concealer, or like to highlight and also to contour my face, because I really want to find a really good cream contour product. So if I like this, I will for sure try to get another shade for contour. Foundation itself looks like this. It's a very sleek, nice packaging. It doesn't feel cheap whatsoever. I mean, this doesn't feel luxurious, but it doesn't feel cheap as well. I always surprised with Colourpop's packaging, because most of the time they always came through with their packaging, and this one is no exception at all. It's very slim as well, and I think it won't take a lot of space in our makeup bag, so that's great. And we have, okay, I haven't opened this yet, and we do get quite a lot of product in my opinion. I mean, I'm afraid if I was afraid it's gonna fall off, but we have quite a lot of product, especially compared to the Maybelline foundation that only has this. I think that one only has this much product, and we kind of get double the amount, and I think this is much more affordable than that as well. I mean, because we don't get a weird sponge in the packaging. So just like my any other foundation review, I'm going to apply this half of my face with a damp beauty sponge. I usually use a damp beauty blender, but now I have this new sponge from Eco Tools. I don't know if it's going to work out well, but I know from what I've heard, this is a pretty good dupe or pretty good sponge and kind of comparable to the beauty blender anyway. And the other half of my face, I'm going to blend them out with this e.l.f. Ultimate blending brush, I believe. And by the way, I have a very oily skin, sensitive, acne prone. I also have a lot of deep pitted acne scars, a lot of redness and dark pigmentation, a lot of textures as well. So I don't have the best of skin, so we'll see if this foundation will work good for kind of problematic skin. So I'm just going to swipe this foundation. Yeah, it is very yellow. I have a very yellow undertone skin. The color actually looks darker in the tube than it is on my face. I don't know how much I should apply this to my face, but let's try with this first. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 swipes. So let's blend this out with a sponge first. Okay, I forgot I'm going to get closer to you so you can see a little bit better. Okay, that blends out really nicely in my opinion. As of now, it actually looks a little bit lighter compared to this side, but compared to my neck, I think it matches me pretty well. And the coverage, I believe, because we used a sponge, a damp sponge, it's kind of sheared them out, and it looks like I have a pretty light to medium coverage foundation. But the finish of it I actually really like. It looks very natural and very lightweight as well. So I'm going to try to build the coverage up on this side, but before we do that, I'm just going to apply this side first with the brush. I think that's the same amount. Okay, the blendability of this foundation is really nice. Even with the brush, it blends out really nicely and very fast, quick and easy. But it obviously, you can tell the difference between these two sides. The coverage way more fuller on this side. It has a pretty nice medium coverage with the brush, but the finish of it, I really like this side a lot better because with the brush, it looks kind of foundation-y and it kind of emphasizes the pores and the dry patches I have around my nose here. It looks way more natural on this side and it looks more like my skin, but we'll see if we can build up the coverage on this side, because if we can, I will for sure prefer the sponge than the brush. So I'm just going to try to build up the coverage on this, especially around the area where I still need some coverage around my cheek, obviously, because I have a lot of redness there, and also on this side, why not, but just a little bit. I mean, obviously you will need much more product and you'll use up the foundation more, like way faster, if you use a sponge to apply this foundation, but I much prefer a better finish. I will just try to go blend this side with a sponge. So that's the second layer. It definitely builds up the coverage and it looks more like a medium coverage now, and kind of similar to this side as well. It still blends out really easily and nicely, but the finish of it, I don't really like this now. I think just apply a lot of product and then blend them out, that rather than building the coverage up. It kind of looks a little bit dry and looks a little bit heavy on the skin and kind of emphasizes the pores. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not the smoothest foundation I have ever tried. but it does feel very lightweight, as if I don't have anything on my face. And it also kind of already sets down a little bit. It doesn't feel tacky whatsoever, but it doesn't feel dry as well. But if you try to build the coverage up and you have dry skin or dry patches, it will for sure emphasizes them kind of bad, because before around my nose looks pretty good, but now it looks pretty dry. But if I look a little bit far away, like from the viewfinder here, it looks pretty good. It has a really beautiful finish and it looks pretty natural. It's not very matte, but it's not dewy as well. And by the way, I forgot to mention this, but I never apply primer for a foundation review or first impression, because I really want to test out the foundation by itself, and I won't apply a setting spray as well. But now I'm just going to finish up the rest of my makeup first, and then I'm going to be back to give you a little bit of thoughts and my opinion about how the rest of my makeup applied on top of this foundation. So I'm going to be back in a few seconds. So I have finished up the rest of my makeup. Now it's currently 12 o'clock, 2 minutes past 12 o'clock. But when I first finished up the application of my foundation, it was around 11. So the foundation has been on my face for an hour now, more or less. I have a little bit of opinion and I kind of changed my mind a little bit. There's a couple of things I love about this foundation, but there are also a couple of things I just don't like about it. The bronzer, the blush, the highlight blends quite effortlessly on top of this foundation. I don't have any problem with blending out any other products on top of this, but after the foundation completely sets down on my face, as I set down the concealer and I set down the foundation with the powder, that's where I see the foundation kind of changes a little bit. It looks even more dry than it did before, and it kind of emphasizes every single dry patches and textures and the scars on my face, which is kind of weird. And the powder kind of disturbed the foundation and kind of take away the foundation a little bit, and that's very weird in my opinion. I used both of the Colourpop powder, the loose setting powder and the pressed powder, and I used their powder so many times before with other foundation, with the Colourpop No Filter foundation, and I don't have trouble with them. In fact, both of them are one of my favorite powder at the moment, especially the loose setting powder I really love. But it's so weird with this foundation, it just makes the foundation looks very dry, and I just don't like how the foundation looks around my nose, around my chin, and around here, like my cheek close to my nose where I have a lot of acne scar. It doesn't look great whatsoever, but around here, my forehead, and around here, the foundation looks very nice. So I don't know, I'm quite conflicted because it looks great in some areas, it looks kind of bad in some areas, so I don't know. But let's just see at the end of the day how the foundation looks. I hope it looks good, and I hope it can hold off the oiliness of my face better than the original No Filter foundation. But for now, I'm going to eat and leave my life a little bit, and I'm going to be back in a couple of hours, maybe 6 or 8 hours, hopefully even more than that. But yeah, I will go back in a couple of hours to give you my final thoughts. Hi guys, I'm back, and now it's currently almost 7 o'clock. So technically the foundation has been on my face for almost 8 hours, and for 8 hours I have to say this is not so bad. In terms of oil controlling, this foundation definitely works a lot better than the original No Filter foundation, even though obviously it looks pretty oily and it looks kind of greasy, but it's not to the point where like it's too greasy and I cannot look at my face because it's way too oily. And like this, for my skin, it's actually pretty good because my skin is just way too oily, and no matter what foundation I put on my face, it always end up looking oily at the end of the day, and it's not that bad looking like this. I expect this to look even more greasy than this because it's more natural finish, and the original no filter foundation is like natural to matte finish. It's not transfer proof or batch proof whatsoever, but it still sit on my face really nicely. It only disappear a little bit here and there, mainly only on the center of my face, a little bit around here, and also already disappear here on my breakout there. But other than that, the foundation is still stay put on my face pretty nicely. For the dry patches around my nose here, it actually looks pretty good compared to the first I applied them. I mean, it obviously look a little bit cakey, but it doesn't look as dry. I feel like the oiliness of my face mixed with this foundation just makes the foundation sits on my face a lot better, and it doesn't emphasize the dry area anymore. So in my opinion, it's completely the opposite of the original no filter foundation. The original one looks way better than this freshly applied, but throughout the day, at the end of the day, after 6 or 8 hours, this end up looking way better than that one. And that one at the end of the day stay put really nicely on my face, but disappear a lot more around my chin and nose area. So I think if you need something a little bit more long lasting, I don't know if you can call this long lasting, but if you need something to wear for more than 6 or 8 hours, for me, definitely choose this one. But if you need something looks amazing for only 4 or 5 hours, then I prefer the original one. And for flashbacks, the original no filter foundation, I think that one doesn't have any flashbacks almost at all, but this one looks a little bit lighter, but it doesn't leave a wet cast. It looks pretty good with flash photography. And for the color, I have to say this color matches me perfectly. The undertone looks really nice, even though on the tube it looks kind of scary and orange. It's one of the best match for me. The color matches me way better than the medium 100 from the original no filter foundation, and it doesn't oxidize whatsoever, doesn't set darker, it doesn't oxidize. So what you get when you first apply them is what you'll get at the end of the day. It feels very lightweight, but I noticed after 3 to 4 hours it started to feel a little bit heavy, and I feel like I have foundation on, but still pretty comfortable. I think if I touch up throughout the day, if I do touch up now, and if I blot my face a little bit throughout the day, I think I can still wear this foundation for 2 hours more, or maybe even 4 hours more. And yeah, my opinion kind of changed a little bit. I end up really liking this foundation. It's not the best, but I really enjoy this foundation so much, and I will for sure use this foundation again and again in the future. So yeah, that's it. That's my first impression, review, and wear test for this Colourpop no filter stick foundation. I hope you find this video helpful, and if you do, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and also maybe subscribe to my channel. The subscribe button is right down below. Also, definitely let me know in the comment down below what other foundation you want me to review. I will try to do that in the future. And lastly, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope I can see you in my next video. Bye guys! So the foundation has been on my face for almost 8 years. What? Not the best, but I enjoy this foundation. It's not